Final Destination Bloodlines has terrible writing, stupid characters, and a green screen so prominent it's practically a cast member. Yet this is one of those films that's so ridiculous it actually ends up being good. Let's get into it. Now, I know what you're thinking, which is what about the initial death sequence? Is it any good, especially when compared to the previous films? And to that I'd say, it's entertaining. To this day, the best death opening scene is Final Destination 2. Let's face it, that film stopped an entire generation from driving behind one of these bad boys. I'd say Bloodlines has the fourth best sequence out of all the films. I have to admit, the OG and Final Destination 3 sequences are better. Now, that's not to say Bloodlines isn't good, because trust me, that's not the case. What's funny though, is I found myself caring more about the characters during the opening sequence of Bloodlines than I did throughout the rest of the film. The characters throughout the opening sequences just seemed to be better written, have more depth, and was looking to have a more meaningful story, compared to what we was actually given throughout the rest of the movie. Okay, so I don't think anyone's going watching Final Destination Bloodlines for the story. I mean, let's face it, we all know the plot. Someone has a vision, saves a bunch of people that should have died, and then death starts picking them off one by one in some sort of order. And of course, the formula doesn't really change in Bloodlines. But what I did appreciate is that they changed just enough and added a few twists to make it feel new. Also, this time, instead of focusing on a group of friends, co-workers or strangers, death's coming after a family. Now, you'd think with the plot focusing on the family, the stakes would be higher. You'd actually care about the characters and want them to survive. But nope, not at all. Without googling it, I couldn't tell you the name of a single character. I found myself way more invested in how they'd possibly die, rather than wondering how they could potentially survive. Honestly, the entire family feels like a bunch of caricatures destined to die. Speaking of dying, the death scenes throughout the film were decent, but who'd have thought a single penny could be such a menace? Also, I think the death scenes weren't meant to be as funny as they were, but I found myself laughing a lot throughout Bloodlines. There's a death scene involving a leaf blower and a football that's so stupid, it's just funny. It's not even that the deaths throughout the film aren't gory, because trust me, there's plenty of gore. It's just that every single one borderlines ridiculousness. Now, there's this one death in the film where the tension build-up lasts way too long. I swear it goes on for nearly 10 minutes. At first it worked. I was cringing at all the ways it could have played out, thinking, mate, this is going to be grim. But then it just kept dragging on. And by the end, I was just like, somebody die already. Honestly, the payoff wasn't even worth it, especially with all the possibilities of what could have happened. It just made the entire build-up and scene fall flat. Another thing that really disappointed me was how nobody managed to save anyone. In most Final Destination films, death skips a turn when someone's saved, adding suspense and keeping you guessing who's next. That tension just isn't there in Bloodlines. The characters figure out the order pretty quickly and then proceed to just die in that exact order. No surprises, no clever saves or twists. From the start, it's clear they're too clueless to stop anything, and the film doesn't even try to make you think otherwise. Okay, so that's enough talk about death. Let's talk about the characters. Like I said, I couldn't tell you the name of a single character without looking it up. That's how forgettable they are. It's not even like the acting's terrible, because the cast does a decent job. It's more the fact the script gives them absolutely nothing to work with, and although they're supposed to be a family, they've got zero chemistry. You'd think with the setup the film has, there'd be a lot of emotional weight and at least have some believable tension. But nah, nothing. The relationships feel hollow, the dialogue falls flat, and the characters' reactions to everything that happens are either underplayed or completely over the top. And it's a shame too, because with better script and direction, a few of the characters could have brought something decent to the table. Instead, they're just there to be knocked off one by one, and you never feel anything when they go. No emotion, no shock, no "oh no, not them," just another death to tick off the list. Now, the one character I do want to talk about is the mortician played by Tony Todd. This film dives a bit deeper into his backstory, giving us more insight about who he is and what he knows, but honestly, I think doing that was a mistake. The best thing about his character in the earlier films was the mystery, that quiet, creepy presence, pulling back the curtain and trying to explain who he is just ruins the character. He's no longer this ominous figure lurking in the background with cryptic one-liners. Instead, they give him more dialogue, more purpose, and it felt like they were just trying too hard to make him make sense, which sort of defeats the whole point of why he worked so well in the first place. The mortician was way more unsettling when you were left wondering what side he was on, or if he was even human. I love the theory that he was death, playing with people knowing that they can't win.
I'll see you soon.
So to me, giving the character a backstory didn't make him more interesting, it just made him feel meh. Okay, so what about the CGI? With a budget of around 50 million, you'd expect it to be decent, right? Well, not exactly. Sure, it's better than Final Destination 4 and 5. It's even better than some recent MCU entries. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Secret Invasion. But let's be honest, that's not exactly a high bar. The main issue is it's painfully obvious that the film's about 90% green screen, and even by green screen standards, it's not great. I think part of the reason the first Final Destination still holds up so well is because a lot of those deaths were done using real sets and practical effects, which gave them weight and realism. If Bloodlines had taken a more grounded approach, leaning into practical effects instead of over-the-top CGI heavy kills, I honestly think the deaths would have felt way more impactful and a lot less unintentionally funny. As for the ending, without spoiling anything, it's just so over the top and stupid that it ends up being funny, like genuinely hilarious. Again, it's actually wild how much chaos and carnage a single penny can cause throughout the course of one film. Overall, Final Destination Bloodlines is exactly what you'd expect, yet somehow even more ridiculous. The writing's rough, the characters are dumb, the CGI's hit and miss, and the logic? What logic? But honestly, even with all of that, I had a really good time watching Bloodlines. It's one of those films that's so stupid, it loops back round to being entertaining. You're not watching it for deep storytelling or emotional weight, you're here for the creative, over-the-top deaths Final Destination movies are known for, and you can't say it doesn't deliver.
Hey, 5-star review, yeah? Like and subscribe and all the things.
You'll also notice a lot of Easter eggs and callbacks to earlier films. They don't feel overly forced, and I enjoyed spotting all the little nods to what came before. If you're a fan of the franchise, you'll definitely have fun with this one, but if you're looking for logic, depth or subtlety, this ain't for you. The film's definitely worth a watch, but unless you're already a fan of all 5 previous movies, I wouldn't recommend going to the cinema to see it. There are way better films out right now, so go watch Thunderbolts instead. But honestly, as soon as Final Destination Bloodlines is available to stream at home, it's definitely worth checking out. But what about you? Have you seen Final Destination Bloodlines, or are you still on the fence about watching it? Let me know down in the comments, and if you could do me a solid by liking and subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. Also, if you like livestream gameplay, then check out my Twitch, and I'm currently looking for a Discord admin, so if you're interested, join my Discord, send me a message, the links are in the description. I hope you all have a great week, and thanks for watching. Until next time peeps, stay frosty.